Well, we knew Marvel Studios was developing a secret Disney Plus project that we didn't know about. In fact, it sounds like they're developing more than one secret project over at the studio right now, but one we knew was going to be produced by Scarlett Johansson. There was also talk about her directing this project as well. It's been a secret for a long time, but apparently now, according to new reports, we know what it is. What we thought was going to be Scarlett Johansson producing a Nomad series is actually Scarlett Johansson bringing kind of a not forgotten character, but lesser known character to life. And that is Blonde Phantom. And this could be literally the perfect project for Scarlett Johansson to do over at Marvel Studios. There is even a little bit of buzz going around about her possibly playing the character, but of course, we'll get into that in a bit. But first, let's break down this new report and talk about what you need to know about the character. Also, we are so close to 1 million subscribers. If you love Marvel and want to stay up to date with the MCU and support the channel, we'd love it if you subscribed. So what's interesting about this is that this character, Blonde Phantom, can be extremely similar to Black Widow, depending on how they depict her in the series, which is why I say that Scarlett Johansson is perfect for this, because she played Black Widow. And like I said, there's talk of, will she actually play this character? This report is coming from Giant Freaking Robot. As far as I've seen, they were the first to post about this. They posted about this yesterday, stating on X, "We've known for over a year now that Scarlett Johansson is working on a secret project with Marvel. It's a secret no more. We've exclusively learned that Scarlett Johansson is working on turning the Blonde Phantom into a Disney Plus series for Marvel." They then state, though Blonde Phantom's costume is basically just a slinky red evening gown topped off by a domino mask, which it is, she carries a gun. Unlike most Marvel heroes, she has no problem shooting. Will Scarlett Johansson keep the gun? We'll see. In the video that they posted on Twitter and YouTube, they say that it is possible for her to play the character herself. They say it's possible for her to end up in the lead role, but it's to be determined. So let's talk about this for just a second. I do not think Marvel Studios would do this. She might want to do this. She might want to play Blonde Phantom, and she might be perfect for the part, but the only reason that she is really perfect for the part and people could see her playing this character is because she played Black Widow. And it seems like Kevin Feige is kind of seemingly against bringing these old actors back to play new characters. He definitely does not want the past of new characters to be undone. We know that he told Hugh Jackman not to return as Wolverine at first, that he had a perfect ending as Logan in the movie Logan, and to not undo that. He also said that they're not going to bring back Iron Man. They're not going to undo the snap. They're not going to take away from these moments. However, of course, we are in the multiverse saga right now, and Hugh Jackman is back as a variant. We know that Robert Downey Jr. is returning in Avengers Secret Wars as a variant. Could Scarlett Johansson, the actress, return to play a different character? Because we are in the multiverse saga right now, it's certainly a possibility, and if there was a time to do it, it is certainly this time while we are in the multiverse saga. And if they wanted to do a cool little Disney Plus show that isn't really connected to much and could exist in an alternate universe where the person who looks like Natasha Romanoff actually goes on to be a different type of kind of spy slash operative, yeah, they could totally do that, and Scarlett Johansson could totally play the role, but we still have the problem that everybody views her as Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson has played a lot of great roles. However, her most iconic role is probably Black Widow, and what an impact Black Widow had in the overall Infinity Saga, from pretty much the very beginning to the end, making her big sacrifice. So go ahead, let me know what you think. Should she return to play this character herself, or should she just produce it and direct it? There's no denying that she has the look, and the character is kind of like Black Widow, just not on the same big scale. She is a masked crime fighter though, who handles a gun pretty well. She first appeared in All Select Comics number 11 in 1946, and this was considered in the 1940s period the golden age of comic books. She would appear in these stories until 1949, until she would make a modern age return as a sidekick for She-Hulk. This would be over 25 years later in 1989. But let's talk about who exactly she is and what she does. Her real name is Lois Grant, who is a secretary to private detective Mark Mason, who she is absolutely in love with. So, wanting to help him solve cases, she sets up the guise of Blonde Phantom, and she dons a domino mask over her face and a red evening gown and heels, which apparently, kind of like Clark Kent, just makes it to where he just completely has no idea that Lois and Blonde Phantom are the same person. In fact, Mark Mason goes on to kind of become obsessed with Blonde Phantom. And this obviously kind of irritates Lois because she's right there. He doesn't really notice her. He notices the Blonde Phantom, but they're the same person. She doesn't have any powers, much like Black Widow, but she's incredibly talented in a lot of different fields like martial arts. And she carries a .45 caliber pistol, and like I said, she is not afraid to use it. So her and Mark Mason go along to fight alongside each other, all the while herself, Lois Grant, still being his secretary. Now, eventually, they would reveal in modern comics, over 25 years after, that Lois Grant would end up marrying her employer, Mark Mason. And she ends up having a daughter and a son. And eventually her daughter would go on to kind of take on the Blonde Phantom mantle. However, she would call herself Phantom Blonde. In the modern age, she would work with She-Hulk, acting as sort of a mentor for her. And this is when she was a lot older. She's in the latter years of her life, but eventually she would go on to run into Mole Man, and he would push her into a vat of mysterious chemicals. I know, sounds like the Joker, but what this would do to her is restore her body to a more youthful version of herself. And since she kind of viewed herself and felt like a young 40-year-old woman, that is essentially what she turned into. Then she would go on to accompany She-Hulk in fighting some bad guys, and eventually would actually end up going on to date She-Hulk's father, Morris Walters, which She-Hulk did not really like. But eventually, Morris Walters, She-Hulk's father, revealed that he wanted her the way she had been, and she reverts back to her normal state. Now, are they going to do all of this in the series? Probably not. Are they going to focus probably on espionage? Yes. And if they do this right, it could be a good series. However, if they do it wrong, well, we've kind of seen what happens there. The perfect example is Secret Invasion. It started off really great. It kind of did feel like a spy espionage thriller. However, it didn't go in the direction that most people thought it was going to go. But if this kind of feels like a really good Black Widow project simply about another character, it could be really, really good, especially if we get Scarlett Johansson's vision behind it. She could do a really incredible job, and she could kind of capture the essence of Black Widow and put it into Blonde Phantom. It is an interesting character to bring on screen because she is definitely not a well-known character, but they do have the potential to make some pretty good stories out of this. Also, at one point in time, in her early days of Blonde Phantom, she does run into and works with Nick Fury, so they could do that as well, and maybe give him a little bit of redemption as well after Secret Invasion. So go ahead and let me know what you think about this. Is this something that you would watch, and would you like Scarlett Johansson to return to play this character herself and simply just produce and possibly direct? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all things MCU. If you subscribe and leave a comment, you're entered for a chance to win a PS5 or Xbox Series X. We pick one winner at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.